You just came from Paris Fashion Week. You just landed, and you have a lanyard still on from it, and there's a photograph on it. What is that?
It's a photograph of a baby's ultrasound.
Why is that? And that you designed that?
Yes.
Why? What does that mean?
It just represents life. I'm pro-life.
Boy, so you wear it on a badge. What kind of response do you get? And good, amen, I agree.
I don't care about people's responses. I care about the fact that there's more black babies being aborted than born in New York City at this point. That 50% of black death in America is abortion. So I really don't care about people's responses. I perform for an audience of one, and that's God.
I'm starting to see why they want to make you be quiet.
Do you guys think Black Lives Matter when it comes to abortion? Like, for instance, between 2012 and 2016 in New York, yeah, more black babies were killed, aborted, than they were actually given birth to. What do you think about that?
I think that's because like a lot of black people, like, they not really take responsibility of the situation. Not even black people were raised by just the mother. So if they see, like, that's the way they will grow up, they didn't have a father. Some are even scared, you understand that? To really, like, because they didn't really have a love in their life. You get what I'm saying?
So do you believe in abortion or not?
No, I don't believe in it, but everyone's got their own reason for it.
I really felt like, I think I started to really feel this need to express myself on another level when Trump was running for office, and I liked him.
Yes.
And every single person in Hollywood, from my ex-wife to my mother-in-law to my manager at that time to, you know, my so-called friends / handlers around me, told me, like, if I said that I liked Trump, that my career would be over, that my life would be over. They said stuff like people get killed for wearing a hat like that. They threatened my life. They put my life. They basically said that I would be killed for wearing the hat. I had someone call me last night and said anybody wearing a White Lives Matter shirt is going to be greenlit, and that means that they're going to beat them up if they wear it. And I'm like, you know, okay, green light me then.
Donald Trump wasn't supported by the majority of the Republican Party when he spoke about, for example, the First Step Reform Act. Donald Trump, and what has Donald Trump done?
What has he done?
Well, before I get to what Donald Trump has done and what he has led the Republican Party to do, because Donald Trump wasn't supported by the majority of the Republican Party when he spoke about, for example, the First Step Reform Act.
And finally, the law rolls back provisions of the 1994 Clinton crime law that was so devastating to so many and that disproportionately impacted the African American community. Nobody believes how much, and now they understand it.
In fact, what Donald Trump did, Donald Trump waited until the midterm elections and then introduced the First Step Reform Act because he knew that there were dissenters in the Republican Party who were against certain aspects of the First Step Reform Act. And so normally on these issues you would have bipartisan support, meaning that you would have support from both sides. And in this instance, it wasn't unanimous, the vote for the First Step Reform Act. I think it was 87 who were for and 12 who were against. Irrespective, Donald Trump got this act through. Now, the reason why it's important is this. In 1994, we had what was entitled the Clinton Crime Act bill. Now, this bill was supported by his wife, Hillary Clinton. It was also supported by Joe Biden.
Is that different to the 3 strikes?
Well, I'm gonna explain it now.
Okay.
It was one of the most pernicious pieces of legislation ever thought up in American politics, and it was a direct attack, an assault on black people in America, but specifically black men. And it's not enough for me to say it, I've got to prove it with facts.
I was going to ask you why. Go on.
Well, I'm going to tell you the reason why. Firstly, if we look at, say, the First Step Reform Act affects federal prisoners, people who have been sentenced under federal legislation. This is legislation which covers all of America, as opposed to state prisoners within those individual states, you can have individual interpretations of the law. There are some acts though which are federal. So, for example, murder of a police officer is a federal federal offence.
Yeah.
Rape is a federal offence.
Yeah.
And so you can look, for example, in 1994, when this particular law was brought out, the federal prisons held 95,162 prisoners. It's interesting that today, you had an explosion in the amount of people who were in prison. And I contend that the great majority of those who went to the prison systems were black men aged between the ages of 16 and 35. And today, the federal prisons hold 217,396.
So more than double.
Well, it's
since 94.
Since 1994. You must also understand this was planned for. So within that 1994 crime bill, which were what I call the Clinton crime bill, there was a provision for 9.7 billion. What for? For the expansion of the prison system.
Yeah.
And so essentially the American taxpayer were asked to fund a war essentially against black members of the public.
But isn't that because
yeah.
prisons became private business? So for me, if prison is a private business,
yeah,
you're gonna need people, you need business, and you need a product.
No, we're talking about two separate things, because in the first instance, we're speaking about what the government are doing, and the government has injected 9.7 billion.
Okay.
Yeah, that is a statement of fact. Second part of it is this, perhaps how the question should have been couched. Do they have lobbyists in America? And the answer is yes, they do have lobbyists in America. Do these lobbyists sometimes seek partnerships with federal governments in terms of finance? Yes, they do.
Right.
And this is where the corruption comes in,
right.
Because you have the marriage of private enterprise, which I call corrupt private enterprise, with unethical government civil servants. This is essentially what's happened, because this figure didn't just come out of the air. It was very specific.
What, 9.7?
The 9.7 billion.
Just a black man stating the obvious. Yeah. And, my dad doesn't listen to rap music, and he's like super educated. We opened up a water distribution center in the Dominican Republic together. He's like the original Steve Jobs, but he was getting blocked every which way with all of his ideas. And he didn't have an endless bank account, and he didn't have an Instagram. So all these ideas, he had to like take them back and compress them. Like, my dad is the most brilliant person that I know, and we actually have a strained relationship because I was taken from him, because my mom was an actress, so she was a liberal. And my dad would see certain things and say, we should do it this way, we should do it that way. And the people got around my mom and pulled her away, much like, Kim is a Christian, but she has people who want her to go to Interview magazine and put her ass out while she's a 40-something-year-old multi-billionaire with 4 black children.
Daddy, what's your responsibility as a black father?
What is my responsibility as a black father? My responsibility as a black father is to raise you into the most proud, articulate, upstanding, brave, young black man that you can be. Am I raising you good? Are you sure?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing a good job?
Yes, you're doing a good job.
All right. Do you want to ask me a question? No. Go on, ask me a question.
When you don't have any work, what do you mean that you're gonna just relax, so I'm gonna do your work?
You're gonna do my work?
Yeah.
Oh, so when I'm relaxing,
yeah,
what you're gonna do this?
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah. So you're gonna take over Sa Ra Garvey's job.
Yeah.
All right. Fine. All right. All right. Let's finish. Do you know how we finish?
No.
Do you know what you gotta say before we finish?
Bye bye.
Nope. You gotta say peace, family, peace. You gotta look in the camera and say peace. Look. Do this. Go, peace, family, peace. Go on. Go on.
Peace, family, peace.
So my mom, she had a PhD, and she was influenced to move to the south side of Chicago and take this job at Chicago State University. And she told my dad, if you come for us, you know, you'll never see him again. Because, you know, the media ridiculed me for getting the house next door to Kim to see my children. And they even said that I was stalking her and her new boyfriend because I bought the house next door to see my children. And that's how I knew that my mom had said that to him. I said, Dad, you know, they moved us to one of the most agreed upon to be one of the most dangerous places in the world. It's almost like they tried to kill me or something. I said, Dad, why'd you never come to get us? And that's when he told me that she was told that.